seen a bunch of great Bluetooth speakers drop this year, including two standout premium options. The brand spanking new Bose SoundLink Plus, which sells for $269, and the latest iteration of a fan favorite, the JBL Charge 6, which goes for $199. Both are rugged, great sounding speakers, but is the SoundLink Plus really worth the extra $70 over the Charge 6? No messing around in this one, let's get into it. Design-wise, both the SoundLink Plus and the Charge 6 hit that Goldilocks zone of being medium-sized Bluetooth speakers. They're not too big, they're not too small, and honestly, this is my favorite size Bluetooth speaker. They're louder than their little siblings, the SoundLink Flex and the Flip 7, but not so big that they won't fit into a backpack. They're perfect for medium-sized gatherings, without hauling around the bulk of a bigger speaker like the JBL Extreme 4. That said, the first thing I noticed about the SoundLink Plus is that it's quite a bit heavier than the Charge 6. The Charge 6 weighs a little over 2 pounds, while the SoundLink Plus tips the scales at about 3.5 pounds. The difference might not seem like much on paper, but in hand, stuffed into a backpack with a bunch of other gear, you'll definitely feel the extra weight of the SoundLink Plus. Of course, if you're mostly using it around the house, or just dragging it out to the backyard for some Sunday beers with some friends, it's not a big deal. When it comes to carrying attachments, the SoundLink Plus rocks this sturdy rope loop. However, with the weight of the speaker, you certainly won't enjoy walking around with it clipped to a backpack or anything, so it just makes for a decent finger loop. The Charge 6, on the other hand, offers more versatility. You can use this bad boy right here in 3 different ways. As a regular handle, or as more of a loop. We'll have to fast forward through this part. Or if you're like me, you're not going to use it all because it takes too long to do this shit, so. You can use this bad boy right here in 3 different ways. As a regular handle, or as more of a loop. However, if you're like me, you're not going to use it at all. That way it looks less like a handbag or a purse, so yeah. I'm not going to use the handle. Durability-wise, things are also pretty darn close here. SoundLink Plus is IP67 rated, so it's fully dust-proof and can withstand a dunk in water up to a meter, although it shouldn't be an issue because it's supposed to float. Bose says it's also shock-proof, which is a fancy way of saying that it should be able to withstand a tumble or two. The Charge 6, though, pulls ahead just slightly with an IP68 rating. So it's dust-proof, but can technically survive being submerged in water a little deeper than the SoundLink Plus, by about half a meter. Wow, big deal, I know. That said, it doesn't float, so you'll have to fish this one out if you drop it in the lake. And like the SoundLink Plus, JBL also states the Charge 6 is drop-proof. So really, it's kind of a wash here. Both speakers offer a rugged build and are designed to handle everything from dusty workshops to full-on beach days and rainy camping trips without an issue. You're good there. Let's talk about controls. Surprise, surprise, they have buttons. But I gotta say, I don't really like these nested buttons that Bose likes to use on their speakers. They're not backlit and they're kind of hard to differentiate in the dark by feel. Plus, I always feel like I have to mash the button to make sure the command is registered. JBL, on the other hand, has these nice, raised, tactile, clicky buttons. Plus, the Orcast, power, and Bluetooth button are all backlit. Obviously, that's just my personal preference. Both speaker controls work just fine, but you know, sometimes it's the little things. Now, when it comes to connectivity, both the SoundLink Plus and the Charge 6 use Bluetooth 5.4 and support multi-point pairing. But each one has a trick that the other doesn't. The SoundLink Plus supports both SBC and AAC codecs, and there's a little bonus for Android users too. Like the SoundLink Flex and the Max, the Plus also supports aptX Adaptive, and if you're using a Snapdragon phone, it'll automatically switch to that higher quality codec. The Charge 6 defaults to SBC, but AAC is starting to show up on some newer Android phones too. Where JBL really pulls ahead is with USB-C audio, and yes, it even supports lossless over USB-C. Sounds cool, right? Well, I actually have a whole other video on why that might not matter as much as it sounds, which you can watch right here. So, if higher bitrate audio is something you care about, both speakers give you some options. Just make sure your phone or tablet can actually take advantage of them. Bose is also borrowing a page from JBL's playbook on this next feature. Both USB ports on these speakers are pulling double duty, and in JBL's case, triple duty, I guess. You can charge your phone from either of these speakers, no problem. Lastly, let's talk about multi-speaker pairing. All newer JBL speakers, including the Charge 6, now use Orcast to connect to other current models like the Flip 7 and the Extreme 4. But heads up, it's not backwards compatible with older JBL speakers like the Charge 5 or the Flip 6, which still use Party Boost. The SoundLink Plus also supports multi-speaker playback through Party mode, and it can pair with a 2nd gen SoundLink Flex or the Max for synchronized mono playback. Of course, either speaker can be paired with an identical model for true stereo performance. On to app support. So who's got the better companion app? Well, this one's easy. JBL, hands down. You know why? Because it has a 7-band customizable EQ. SoundLink Plus, and every other Bose product out there, you get a 3-band EQ. That's it. Generic bass, middle, and treble sliders just like you'd find in a car from what, I don't know, 1993 or something? Let's go, Bose! Time to step up your EQ game. So, casual listeners could probably get away without installing the Bose or the JBL Portable app, but you will need those apps to access your EQ options, pair an identical speaker, get firmware updates, all the usual companion app stuff. Okay, on to battery life. Who wins this round? Well, it's absolutely no contest here. If you want the speaker with the best battery life, Bose absolutely nailed it with the SoundLink Plus. But first, let me explain how we test battery life. To test the battery life of these speakers, we charge them to full and then play a continuous loop of music at 80 dB measured from a distance of 1 meter away. 80 dB is a little closer to party volume, you know, trying to hear the music over the chatter of your pals. In our testing, the SoundLink Plus, which claims up to 20 hours of battery life off a single charge, lasted for 20 hours and 55 minutes. Nice one, Bose. Unfortunately, the Charge 6 had some disappointing results. It claims up to 24 hours under normal operation, but in our testing, it lasted just 13 hours and 15 minutes. That's still a good chunk of listening time for the day, but it ain't exactly 24 hours now, is it? So yeah, Bose nailed it and wins this round, no question. If you want the speaker with the best battery life, your search might end right here. Alright, on to sound quality. Now I want to quickly explain why we don't do listening tests on this channel. We don't do them because honestly, I think they're misleading for both you, the listener, and for the speakers themselves. It's kind of like trying to judge the taste of a fresh pizza just by smelling the box. There are too many other factors at play. What you'd hear depends on the mic we're using, YouTube's compression, and whatever you're listening with, whether it's your computer speakers, a nice pair of headphones, or let's be honest, your phone in the bathroom before work. Basically, everything except the speaker itself. I'd rather just tell you what it sounds like to my own ears because these are independent reviews. I have no reason to steer you wrong. So, which one sounds better? Honestly, it's a tie. Both of these speakers sound great, but they are tuned a bit differently out of the box. Now it's important to know that both the SoundLink Plus and the Charge 6 are mono speakers, and in my testing they offer pretty similar volume and output. The Charge 6 is rated at 45 watts, but the SoundLink Plus, well, Bose likes to keep that spec a secret. Seriously, they won't tell you, and they won't even tell me. Based on what I've heard in my testing though, I'd guess it's in the same ballpark, maybe 45 to 50 watts like the Charge 6. So back to their tuning. The SoundLink Plus follows suit with the rest of the SoundLink lineup, meaning if you've used a Flex or a Max before, you'll dig how the Plus sounds. It has that typical consumer-friendly sound, enhanced bass and treble with recessed mids. It sounds great, and instruments like kick drums, bass synths come through with a solid low-end resonance for a speaker of its size, without sacrificing treble clarity, meaning you can still hear the drummer's hi-hats and cymbals at the same time. That said, those recessed mids do affect instruments like distorted guitars or snare drums, so they tend to take a bit of the back seat in your mix if you're listening to rock music, for example. The Charge 6, however, still delivers a solid bass response to my ears, but it definitely emphasizes mid-range frequencies much more than the SoundLink Plus. Snare drums, and especially vocals, come through loud and clear with the Charge 6. At the same time, it does have a slightly darker sound, meaning it lacks the emphasized treble you get with the SoundLink Plus, so instruments like piano keys don't quite have that same brilliance. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us diving into the companion app to use that custom EQ, if you don't like the sound of either speaker. If you want more mids out of the SoundLink Plus, you can bump them up using Bose's limited middle slider. And with the Charge 6, if the mids are too much, you've got a 7-band EQ to dial them back and boost the treble frequencies at the same time if you need a bit more clarity in those piano keys. So at $269, is the Bose SoundLink Plus worth the extra $70 over the Charge 6? I mean, personally, I have a rule, and it's this: never pay full price for Bose gear. So no, it's not worth it to me, but maybe it's worth it to you. Maybe you already have a SoundLink Flex or Max and you want to sync them together. Or maybe you just know the sound of these Bose speakers and you want that same great sound right out of the box. In the end, you're getting a durable, great sounding speaker, but yeah, it comes at a premium. That said, let's not forget that the SoundLink Plus also wiped the floor with the Charge 6 when it comes to battery life, so that also might be a factor that sways your decision. The Charge 6 isn't exactly cheap either, it's just shy of $200, but you do get a more customizable sound, plus more options for multi-speaker pairing with JBL's extensive portable lineup. Heck, you can even use the EQ to make it sound closer to the SoundLink Plus if that's your preference. Personally, there's nothing that the SoundLink Plus offers that I want or need that the Charge 6 doesn't already provide, so I'll be saving that $70 and snagging a Charge 6. Unless maybe there's a sale coming up. Let me know in the comments down below which speaker you're going with, and if you want to deep dive into all the specs on these two capable speakers, be sure to read my full reviews at SoundGuys.com and scope out our videos on the Charge 6 right here and the SoundLink Plus right here. Happy listening! Great video, Dave! Yeah, that's really good! Really good! Great work, everybody! Nice one!